Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the Viet Vegan because I'm Vietnam vegan, and today I'm making a recipe that has been very long time requested, has been highly requested, whatever. You guys want this recipe. And I've been working on this for a while, and it is Bánh Xèo. If you guys have never heard of Bánh Xèo, it's basically like a savory, crispy pancake that's like yellow. It's actually typically like pretty vegan friendly. The only thing that is usually used in it is like meat and shrimp. So you can always sub those out for tofu, mushrooms, and I have vegan shrimp here. But the batter itself is typically vegan. Traditionally, it's coconut milk. So we're gonna make some crispy, delicious Bánh Xèo today. It's nicknamed as Vietnamese pizza, but I have no idea why, because it resembles nothing like pizza. It's basically a savory pancake. If you guys want the full recipe, I'll leave it linked down below. I typically weigh my recipes now. I just find it's way easier to like duplicate recipe testing and stuff like that when they're weighted. I will include like volume measurements. Just know that the weighted measurement is way more accurate. But this recipe is pretty like fast and loose. You can like play around with the ratios a little bit. It'll typically yield what you want if you have the right consistency in the batter. A lot of times for vegetarian or vegan filling, people will use mung bean. So this is mung bean. It's basically hulled green mung beans, and the inside is yellow. You cannot substitute the two, they are different. I mean, like they're from the same thing, but they different. So typically you would steam those and add like a little seasoning, onion, salt, soy sauce, and then you can add that as like a filling. But that is a lot of labor for me and I'm really lazy. I mean, if you wanna do that, by all means. I have instead some tofu, some oyster mushrooms that I've sliced up, and some vegan shrimp that I found at the Asian market. This is all obviously vegan. If you want to focus more on protein, add mung beans, focus more on tofu. But you know, it's just a good time. So we're gonna turn on this stove here to like preheat it. We're gonna whip together our batter. It is quite simple and easy. So here we have some rice flour. This is just regular rice flour. You can get this at the Asian market for really cheap. You can also buy it in bulk. It is different from glutinous rice flour. If you use that, that'll be a totally different texture. It'll be like kind of gooey and gummy, which is like something that you want in certain dishes, but not for this dish. You want it crispy. So you want some rice flour. And because of this recipe, it's actually gluten-free. So if you can't eat gluten, this recipe is for you. Oh, I'm gonna add in the dry ingredients. So we have some turmeric here. We just have that for color and flavor. That's what makes it yellow. Some cornstarch, which makes it more crispy. Boop, boop, boop. Also, what do you think of this angle setup? Is it better? I think I like this better. It's a little tight for space, but you know, it's more convenient. You guys can see what's going on more. So we're gonna whisk these together, just so you don't get any clumps of like turmeric. Oh, she's cloudy. All right, we're gonna add some liquid to this. We have some coconut milk, which is this brand of coconut milk. I've discovered that I love this coconut milk. It's so creamy and awesome, and there's no extra gums or thickeners or anything. Actually, I could totally make yogurt out of this. And then we're gonna add the secret ingredient, which is coconut LaCroix. I've been trying to find coconut soda because I remember growing up, my mom had this like big green bottle of coconut soda, and that was the base for like a lot of soups and stuff like that. But I haven't been able to find that like in any grocery store. I like searched through like 6 Asian grocery stores. But you know what? Coconut LaCroix. And it's worked out quite well. We need 1.5 cups. It's gonna look really runny, and you're gonna be like, are you sure about that? Yes, I am sure about that. And basically, so you don't use the full thing, it's 1.5 cups. So you still have a little bit left to sip on if you want. It's just gonna make this batter really fluffy and really crispy. My family also uses beer sometimes, and I've heard other people use other like sparkling waters, but I've had the best results with coconut water. So here is the batter. It is very fluffy, very bubbly. You're just gonna mix it in so that it's all incorporated. You don't wanna deflate the bubbles, but it'll be fine. But because it's gluten-free, you can't really overmix it, so it's great. I'm gonna add 2 chopped scallions or green onions. I basically cut them on like a diagonal so that they have like a nice sort of shape to them. It's prettier, so we're just gonna add that straight into the batter. I'm gonna ditch the whisk, switch to the old trusty ladle. And we're also going to add some oil. You can leave out this oil, but it will stick to the pan a little bit more if you have it not incorporated. And it also adds the crispy factor. So we're just gonna stir this all together, and it's gonna look like a very, very thin batter. It's gonna be like, this is too thin, how is this gonna work? But trust in the process, okay? There are lots of other iterations online with like various extra things, but I like to keep the batter pretty plain because the way that I eat this, I dunk the pancake in like a spring roll and I like use a fish sauce recipe, a vegan fish sauce, so it already has some salt in there. Plus I'm just sensitive to salt anyway, so if you want to add salt, feel free, but you don't need to because that's not how you're gonna eat it. First off, we're gonna fry some of this in the pan just to get it kind of textured up. So I'm gonna use shrimp. Eddie doesn't like shrimp, so this one is for me. So I kind of like to split them in two sides because I'm gonna flip them in the middle, so I want to leave that middle part kind of empty. Now I'm using a cast iron pan which already has some oil in it, and if your cast iron pan is properly seasoned, it won't stick, but mine is not that well seasoned because I suck. Basically the way that I season my pan is that when I went camping a few years ago, I just like used a ton of oil and I didn't really wash it that well. I mean, we washed it, but we didn't use soap, obviously, and we never use soap, but because there was so much like grease on grease cooking on it, it just got like super seasoned. It was great. So I highly recommend taking your cast iron pan to go camping because it'll do great. All right, so there's like this kind of like natural line where I'm hoping to break up the pancake when I fold it in half. We're gonna fry this for about a minute or two until each side kind of gets brown, and then I flip them, and then it'll be great. So we're starting to get some color on the shrimpies. Have your glove ready because my cast iron pan gets very hot. So we're gonna give this a good mix just to reincorporate anything that's settled on the bottom. And then you're gonna add like a ladle and a half. And then here we need to work kind of quickly and just swirl it around. If you see on the edges here, if you can like swirl it around fairly fast with this batter, it'll crisp up really, really nicely. And it'll have that like classic crispy edges, which is a signature part of this dish. I'm gonna add in some mung bean sprouts. That just adds like a nice little tenderness in the middle. If you had mung beans, this would be a place where you would add your mung beans. And then I have like a rubber spatula where I'm just gonna sort of circle around the edges. It's gonna turn this like beautiful, vibrant yellow. It's great. And I always get kind of impatient or like, yeah, just impatient. I always wanna flip it sooner than I should, so I just need to like leave it. Just keep cooking it until it gets nice and crispy on the bottom. Honestly, that's it to the recipe. You just keep doing this until you run out of batter. For me and Eddie, I find that this amount of batter is the perfect amount, but if you were cooking for 4 people or if you want leftovers, I would double the recipe. But otherwise, it's just too much pancake, you know? Do a pretty flip. I should have grabbed my pancake spatula. Okay, just like pancakes, the first one's kind of ugly, you know? That's fine. All right, she's not perfect, but that's the general gist of it. Yeah, if I waited properly, I wouldn't have to do this to make sure both sides are flipped and cooked crispily. But yeah, I'm pretty sure when my grandma makes this, she uses a ton more oil. I just don't want that much oil. That's too much. All right, and then you flip it and put it on a plate. So I'm gonna fast forward through this and show you sort of a nice little cooking montage. And I'll see you when we're ready to eat. We're gonna eat them now. I'm gonna show you how I like to eat them. So we have some rice paper here. I use the Rose brand rice paper. I don't know, I like it. It seems to hold together well. I have some warm water here, and I'm just gonna do a little quick dunk, a little tap tap. It's actually kind of steaming, but it's not hot, it's just warm water. Okay, it's like hot-ish water. Anyway, I see people dunk their paper in like cold water, and they like leave it in there for like a minute. Don't do that. Hot water, warm water, like a 5-second dunk, and you know, it'll soften on the plate as you're assembling. So I have the Bánh Xèo here, yes, ooh yes. I like to use scissors to cut it up. I've got some lettuce here. These are big leaves of lettuce. I like to add a little lettuce, and then I add a layer of Bánh Xèo. It's a little cold and soggy because I been cooking, but you can also put pickles in here. Oh, actually, I do have pickled radish. I think that would be really tasty. It's not traditional at all, but it's heckin' tasty. I followed a recipe from Cookies and Kate, I think, and then I just added like more pepper. I was thinking about the spice, so you know, we're gonna add some pickled radish on here. Traditionally, you would put like a different kind of pickle, but you know, same but different. Then we're gonna wrap. So it's much like a burrito, one end, then you grab the other end. Eddie's walking down the stairs. That's what the sound you hear.
They can't hear that.
Yes, they can. And then you do a little wrappy. Et voila. Not my best work, but you know what? I'm sure it's tasty. And here I have some vegan fish sauce, dipping sauce. I found like this vegan fish sauce. I think this was in Montreal. No, I found this at an Asian market, and it says Nuk Mam Chai. And so it's like the plain stanky fish sauce. It's based with soy sauce though. Soybean, water, salt. So, I mean, it's essentially soy sauce, but it has a bit of extra stank to it, you know? So we're gonna do a little dunky. I'll leave a recipe for that dipping sauce down below, and instead of soy sauce, I just used vegan fish sauce, but Eddie prefers the soy sauce. I've had some people criticize me about how I'm eating this because they don't do this, but this is how I ate this a lot as a kid. Or I'd use like mustard leaves as a wrap and then dip them in this. But the rice paper just holds everything together quite nicely. That is Bánh Xèo. This recipe makes 5 pancakes. It could be 4 with like a little extra whatever, and it could be 6 if you use if you're a bit more conservative with the batter per pancake, but the perfect amount for 2 people who eat a lot, which is me. So probably like 4 people, but you know, whatever. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, comment down below if you want more recipes like this, if you have any of your own spins or favorite toppings for Bánh Xèo, or I guess fillings, they're not toppings. If you guys want the full recipe, I'll leave it linked down below on thevietvegan.com. I have people who complain like, where are the measurements? Where are the instructions? Where are blah, 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 blah. It's always on the website, y'all. I have a lot of other Vietnamese recipes to catch up on, but I'm excited. I'm ready to show you guys. I hope you guys are excited too, so subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a delicious day. Bye-bye. Can you focus on my face? Yeah, that's great. I am very hungry, so we are harnessing some super weird energy today.